Modern masculinity is running a legacy operating system on hardware that could be a tier, and the delta between potential and performance is becoming a full-blown organizational risk. Men are clocking in every day with drained emotional capital, low cognitive throughput, and impulse-heavy decision cycles. Before we dive into the secrets of semen retention power, make sure you subscribe now and join our Telegram family. The link's in the description. Don't miss the exclusive insights and daily motivation that will keep your energy, focus, and discipline unstoppable. Your success journey starts today. The root cause isn't weakness, it's oversaturation. Every swipe, every short-form hit, every microdopamine spike is fragmenting attention like corrupted data packets in a broken server. The system isn't failing. It's drowning under unmanaged input traffic. There's a quiet burnout spreading across men who technically have everything but feel nothing. It's not clinical collapse more, like chronic underperformance masquerading as normal, a kind of emotional ghosting of one's own potential. Most men don't realize their bandwidth is fried until basic tasks feel heavy. Not because they lack capability, but because their mental RAM is booked by habits that deliver quick vibes but destroy long-term productivity. Dopamine has become the counterfeit currency men keep taking loans in. The interest rate is brutal. Lower drive, lower clarity, lower self-authority. You pay daily without noticing. The balance is draining. The crazy part? This whole cycle feels casual, normal, culturally approved. The status quo is built on keeping men overstimulated enough to stay distracted, but not empowered enough to break the pattern. Semen retention, discipline, deep focus. These aren't fringe tactics anymore. They're operational restructuring strategies. High-performance men are using these as system upgrades, not spiritual rituals. When a man stops leaking his energy into short-term gratification loops, he stops being another guy and starts becoming a strategic asset to himself first, then to every ecosystem he touches. Internal stillness becomes the new productivity hack. Not meditation as ascetic, but presence as ascetic. That calm, grounded, locked-in aura isn't mystical. It's the natural outcome of not being mentally scattered 24/7. Most men are one. Habits shift away from leveling up their whole operating model. But the system has conditioned them to believe change requires suffering, fasting, monk mode extremes, or dramatic breakups. The truth is far simpler. Growth requires subtraction, not addition. Removing what drains you does more than adding what inspires you. It's operational hygiene, not motivational hype. When a man stops outsourcing his dopamine to screens and impulses, his brain starts producing high-quality, internal signals again. Focus returns, confidence stabilizes, decision-making gets crisp. He stops glitching. Semen retention becomes less about not doing something and more about reallocating energy to high-value outcomes. Call it energetic capital investment. The ROI is unreal. This shift creates a new identity baseline. Men stop acting like they're negotiating with their own impulses and start acting like they're running the show. Leadership starts internally before it ever shows externally. The world responds differently to a man who isn't ruled by his urges. You see it in how people talk to him, how teams follow him, how partners trust him. There's a gravitational pull, quiet but unmistakable. It's not dominance by force, it's dominance by clarity. When your internal environment is clean, your external environment rearranges itself around you with shocking efficiency. The average man thinks confidence is about flexing, but genuine confidence is a calm, stable energy field that doesn't need validation. It's the vibe shift that makes rooms go silent when you walk in. The market rewards men who operate from this state, not because energy is mystical, but because focus and consistency produce outcomes the distracted majority can't compete with. You're not chasing success anymore, you're driving it. You're not scrambling for motivation, you're executing from a place of internal alignment that feels almost effortless. This shift doesn't feel like hype. It feels like remembering who you were before overstimulation scrambled your baseline. Like returning to a more grounded version of yourself that got buried under years of digital noise. Every man has a high agency mode buried inside him. It's not rare, it's just suppressed. And when he activates it, even slightly, everything in his life relationships stabilize, work accelerates, creativity returns. The mind stops running like a glitchy app and starts operating like a top-tier system designed for high-volume throughput. Energy becomes a strategic resource, not something wasted on late-night scrolling or compulsive habits. Something deployed intentionally, like capital, into high-growth projects. Discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like empowerment. You're not forcing yourself, you're choosing yourself. Big difference. You realize the real fight was never with the world, it was with the fragmentation inside you. And when that fragmentation ends, momentum begins. Momentum is addictive in the best way. Once you see how much you can produce from a calm, centered state, chaos stops seducing you. You outgrow it. Masculinity becomes less about aesthetic grind culture and more about operational excellence, mental, emotional, and biological alignment, working as one unified system. You stop being reactive and start being predictive. You see patterns earlier. You respond faster. You lead situations instead of absorbing them. The energy you emit becomes structured. People trust structured energy. Teams follow structured energy. Even opportunities gravitate to it because it signals reliability. That's why practices like retention hit different. They build internal structure. They tighten your emotional architecture. They don't give power, they stop you from leaking it. Once you feel this shift, even for a week, it's impossible to unsee it. You understand how much you left on the table. And that realization is both humbling and exhilarating. The world feels less overwhelming. You're not operating from chaos anymore. You're operating from alignment. It's like switching from Wi-Fi to fiber-optic-clean, fast, stable. People start noticing changes before you announce them. Your presence gets heavier, calmer, more intentional. It's not ego, it's coherence. Your old habits feel childish, not tempting. You've outgrown the version of yourself that settled for cheap dopamine because you didn't know what high-quality energy felt like. Your decision-making shifts from impulsive to strategic. You see long-term plays instead of short-term hits. You act like someone who respects their time and energy. Even setbacks hit differently. They don't knock you off course. They become data, feedback, sharpening tools. You're emotionally fortified. Confidence stops being a performance. It becomes your baseline. That quiet, unshakable inner solidity, the kind CEOs pay coaches 6 figures to install, comes naturally to yourself. Not because you changed the world, but because you finally stopped betraying yourself. That internal trust is the real glow. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. Women feel this shift instantly. They may not articulate it, but they sense it. You're present, grounded, focused. Not chasing validation, not thirsty, not scattered. Opportunities feel this shift too. High-quality environments are built to recognize high-quality energy. You align with rooms that match your frequency. You're not hustling for crumbs. You're positioning yourself for leverage. That's the real FlexQuiet leverage, not loud desperation. This isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about reverting to your natural high-performance state before overstimulation hijacked your biology and psychology. When a man masters retention, not just physically but mentally, he becomes the architect of his life, not a spectator. He stops being reactive to the world and starts shaping it.